We are with Maher Nasser. He's the director of the Outreach Division of the Department of Global Communications at the United Nations. He's answering questions from Peace One Day. Welcome, Maher. Today is 21st April, World Creativity and Innovation Day. Could you tell us why this day is so important to the UN and the work that you are doing?
I think when you look at the agenda that member states and the United Nations organizations are looking to address, we have many challenges and also many opportunities. Creativity and innovation is a tool to solve problems. And today, they are also a tool to address issues that affect peace, social, economic, and sustainable development. And this day has been or was celebrated by more than 50 countries between the year 2002 and 2017. Following this, the adoption of the global Agenda 2030, Sustainable Development Goals in 2015, member states at the UN designated 21st April as the International Day for Innovation and Creativity. Of course, creativity and innovation as a tool need to also be guided with the principles on which the organization was created. The principles of respect for human rights, aspiring for peace, and now, of course, a focus on sustainability. As we think about all of these issues, we need to be creative and innovative.
Let's talk about artificial intelligence, AI. It is a very important issue to the United Nations. Can you tell us why?
I think it's an issue that is of great impact on all humans, and therefore it is important for the United Nations. In his roadmap on digital cooperation, the Secretary General addressed the issue of AI. AI as a tool can also be an incredible way to solve and identify solutions to problems, but if not done within a concept that respects human rights, that avoids it being used to take away human agency, human dignity, and undermine human rights, it needs to be used in a way that reinforces those rights and not submits them to the will of a machine rather than humanity and a human agency. I think we have to look for solutions that AI can help us with, that are supporting for what we try to do as the UN. Promote human rights, respect for peace, and create a sustainable social and economic development.
So to the companies and to the individuals around the world who are building the AI of the future, what is the most important consideration that should be taken into account?
I think the principles on which any technology is based needs to be that it is a technology that is going to service humanity and the life on the planet and not could become a risk. There are technologies that can in a way be used to suppress human rights, to suppress the freedom of expression, to suppress and to censor people and opinions. And at the same time, we need to ensure that there are guardrails that are guided by the principles of human rights, by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, by the principles of sustainability, by the principles of peace, respect, dignity. And I think all of these issues, as these companies develop AI or any other technology, they need to be aware of also the potential downfalls. We have to also be remembering the lessons of history. When we look at the Industrial Revolution and all of the carbon emissions and other greenhouse gases that the Industrial Revolution spewed out into the atmosphere that created what we now live in, which is the climate crisis or emergency, as we say. Had we known, and the irony is scientists have been warning about this even from the 1970s. Even the scientists of a fossil fuel company itself warned against that. It didn't stop us from continuing burning fossil fuels, and we are in a crisis today. I think we need to be more careful as we develop new technologies into what could be and unintended consequences for their development in the future. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration.
So what role will AI play in humanity's survival then? I know it's a tricky question. It can go either way.
I think we cannot hide our head in the sand. AI is advancing, has become part of our life as we look at the most recent developments, and there's more every day. What is absent, and I think needs to be discussed further, is that it needs to be a multi-stakeholder engagement. Developing a technology cannot be just left to one company or two or three or an industry without a technology that can have an impact on other people and other parts and other sectors without having a say. A technology that is developed needs to be mindful of certain constraints that affect life and human rights. For example, there are technologies and some of the AI systems that have been developed. They bring with them and within them the biases that exist in society or in the minds of the developers. So they are helping marginalize some of the earlier models of AI that screened data. It was clear from those examples that it was actually using the inherent biases of those who developed it to marginalize and discriminate against minorities or women. And I think these are considerations that need to be borne in mind as any company or business develops a new technology or an AI that is not just left to pure innovation without having ethical guidelines and ethical principles grounded in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and what the High Commissioner for Human Rights is also asking for, that these things are developed in a multi-stakeholder engagement that brings in everybody to the table.
And you're talking about companies, but what about individuals? Is there any constructive action that individuals can take in support of AI becoming a tool that helps humanity?
I think on this issue or any other issue, individuals have agency. Not maybe to the same level in different countries or in the same, even people who have access, for example, to lawyers have more agency in defending their rights than people who cannot afford a lawyer. In the same way, people who are in a country where they can use their political vote to vote the government, it's different than in a country where they cannot vote because they live in an autocratic regime. However, advocacy matters. I think everybody has a voice, and it's not just your political voice. We can also exercise our voice through our wallets. So companies are also mindful of, they do something because they do market research and saying, okay, this will expand my market research. This product is popular. This product, whether it's a product or a service, is meeting people's expectations. And I think younger people today, and we hear them, they are demanding action on climate, for example. And more companies are saying, we hear you, we are sustainable, but we have to really ensure that that declaration is not greenwashing. In the same way that we can maybe talk about AI, if companies developing something, I'm developing something that will be serving humanity, but who is actually the judge of that? Is that really serving humanity? How can we make sure that this was developed in a way that has been regulated? I think there is a need to ensure that our guardrails that put this further innovation and progression in developing AI into perspective, a perspective that learns from the lessons of the past.
And I just have a last question about misinformation and disinformation and the role that AI plays into that.
Well, misinformation and disinformation have existed within humanity from the days we started communicating. But there's a difference between misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is somebody being misinformed and sometimes sharing that information with somebody else without an intention to disinform. And disinformation is done with intent. So there's a bit of a difference in that. AI sometimes can help us, actually. You can develop a system that can study patterns and identify what could be misinformation and disinformation. But an AI could also develop a way to get around your own perceptions and make you believe that a misinformation or disinformation and plays on people's weaknesses to spread disinformation. So it's in the same way of what are the ethical rules at which that this AI is working on. But what we have seen also with misinformation, disinformation is today's technologies help it spread in a way that exceeded any time in past history. With a click of a button, I can share something on my social media or by email or by messaging app with thousands of people. And many people do that without looking at the verification, is this really valid information, before they share it. Well, we need to try to ensure that people change their behavior and how they share information. At the same time, the current model of most social media platforms relies on algorithms that are basically AI systems that develop a perception about each of us and feeds us what the system thinks will keep us engaged longest, because that's how they can make more money of our attention. And I think that is something that also needs to be borne in mind. I think those companies have to maybe look again at what are the principles that are guiding them, and how do we ensure that this becomes a tool for progress, a tool for peace, a tool for sustainability, a tool for equality, and not exasperating inequality.
Thank you so much, Maher Nasser. This was very good information for World Creativity and Innovation Day. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.